What's up, Moto fans? Michael here at Moto Machines, and today we're going to be doing a bit of maintenance on our 2006 Daytona 675. This bike has 5 track days on it this year, so that means it's time to change out some critical fluids like our brake fluid as well as our oil. Now, this is not going to be a how-to video on either of those services. If you're interested in that, you shouldn't have any problem at all finding a video on Google or YouTube that clearly breaks down the process. Now, I like to change my track bike's oil every 4 to 5 track days because that is when I start to notice degradation of the oil. The bike starts to be a little hard to start. It doesn't want to shift as easily, and it certainly doesn't want to find neutral as easily either. Although, that being said, it's a old British bike that doesn't want to find neutral anyways. It just gets noticeably worse. Now, as far as the brake fluid goes, I haven't really seen a difference in changing it every single time or every 5 days, but I just do it as peace of mind because I have the bike up on the lift or on the stand already, so I might as well change the brake fluid as well. Now, if you are tracking a street bike, aka your main street ride, you really don't have to change your oil every single track day. That goes to the same for a track bike. In my opinion, if you change the oil every single time you go out there, you're just throwing money away. But you know, if that's what you want to do, that's your prerogative. But I'm not going to do that. I change it every 5 days for the aforementioned reasons. But with all that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so since we're changing the oil, the first thing we're going to need to do is get the bike up to temp. Now, this motorcycle does not have radiator fans, so I can't let it idle for forever. Otherwise, the coolant, or actually it's distilled water in this thing, will bubble over and make a massive mess everywhere. But just get your bike up to temp, just let it run for a couple minutes, and you'll be good to go. Now we're gonna reinstall the drain plug because it's pretty much done draining. I'm just gonna reuse the old one. I've always done it. It's never been a problem, but some people don't like that, so it's up to you. Alright, so the oil warning light went out after a couple seconds, so we should be good to go. Now we just need to check for leaks and then top off if needed. Alright, so the bike just needed a couple hundred more milliliters of oil and it's topped off, good to go. So now we're going to move on to bleeding the brakes. So we're going to move on to bleeding the brakes now. There's a couple ways to do this, and most people have their own way of bleeding the brakes. What I like to do is completely get all the fluid out of the master cylinder and the master cylinder reservoir, and then move on to the calipers, make sure all the fluid's out of the system. I'm then going to top off the master cylinder and then get the fluid flowing, bleed it from the master for a little bit, and then re-top it off and start at the lowest point and furthest point from the master cylinder. On this bike and most bikes, it's going to be the left hand brake caliper. I'm going to bleed there, then go to the right, then go to the master, and repeat it as many times as needed until I'm happy with the lever. But let's get started. Now, the one thing that I consider mandatory when bleeding the brakes is one of these speed bleeder bags. All the brake fluid's gonna go straight into the bag, and then you can conveniently pour it out when you're done. These are available on like Amazon as well as a couple other resellers, but they're awesome to have and I highly recommend it, and it's cheap as dirt too. Well, that's all we got for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in more content like this, hit that bell notification to stay up to date on all the latest Moto Machines madness. Ride safe.